excellent.
I don't want to. A phrase that you've probably say often. It's a phrase that you've probably said a lot of times this week. A phrase that's probably more powerful than you even realize. No, it's not motivational. It's not inspiring. It's not something that you're going to see on a t-shirt or a coffee mug. But I'm willing to say that you say those words out of your mouth more than you realize. I don't want to. Think about how often you say it in the different contexts in which you do. I don't want to cut the grass. I don't want to fold the laundry. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to make that phone call. I don't want to go to bed. I don't want to get out of the bed. For me, often, I don't want to write for the podcast. I don't want to record the podcast. I don't want to edit the podcast. The I don't want tos. Those lists, they seem to never end. But here's something that you maybe haven't thought about. It's usually in the I don't want to moments where we experience growth, where we gain our strength, and where our character is formed. So in this episode, we're going to talk about why these moments matter. And then we're going to talk about how we can push through them and how they actually make us better leaders, they make us better teammates, and they make us better people. So welcome to the Mind Your Business podcast, the podcast for whatever business is on your mind. Let's get started.
Well, that's excellent.
Well, as always, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Mind Your Business podcast. If this brings value to your life, do me a favor. If you're watching on YouTube, I need you to like, subscribe, and share this with other people. If you're listening by podcast, just leave a review wherever it is that you listen, because this helps us add as much value to as many people as possible. I don't want to. It's a common phrase. We all say it, but let's be real. Doing what we don't want to do, it's just a part of life. Kids don't want to eat their vegetables. They don't want to clean their room. They don't want to take a bath. Teenagers, they don't want to do their homework. They don't want to follow the rules. Adults, we don't want to do taxes. We don't want to clean out the garage. But this is the hard truth. Life is not built on what we want to do. It's built on what we choose to do. Do you think Thomas Edison enjoyed failing thousands and thousands of times while trying to invent the light bulb? Probably not. I know with that much failure, there had to be a lot of days that he just said, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to do this today. I don't want to. But his discipline to keep going, even when he didn't want to, that's what changed the world. Or writers, even some of the best authors in the world. I have heard them admit that they hate writing. They'll say something like, I hate writing, but I love having written. And what they mean is the process isn't always fun. Do they enjoy writing? They do, but it doesn't mean they always enjoy it every time. The process, the things that we do continually, it's not always fun, but the fruit of the process, that's what's worth it. And then there's you and me. We may not be world-changing inventors or best-selling authors, but the principle, it's still the same. It's the dishes. It's the deadlines. It's the workouts, those phone calls. It's the small acts of faithfulness in the face of, I don't want to. That's what slowly but surely shapes the people that we are becoming. But here's the tension. Here's the problem. We live in a world that has suddenly adopted an I don't want to, and that's okay mindset. We've bought into this thought that we shouldn't have to do anything that we don't want to do. We think we shouldn't have to work hard. We think we shouldn't have to go above and beyond. We think we shouldn't have to prove ourselves. We shouldn't have to earn it or apply ourselves. We've said things like, well, just do what makes you happy. Follow your energy. If it doesn't spark joy, then don't do it. This is where all of the current work or even non-work trends that are damaging us, that's where they're coming from. You're probably familiar with some of them that you hear in the news or you've experienced maybe in yourself or in your own office. Quiet quitting, you've heard that term. This is just simply where employees are physically at work, but they're just mentally checked out. They've decided to give only the bare minimum effort to simply keep their job. I don't want to and I don't have to, so I am quiet quitting. Or bare minimum Mondays. Have you heard this one? The majority of people, if you were polled, if you were asked, you'd probably say, I don't like Mondays. Most people don't. It's also because it's reported to be the most stressful day of the week. And I bet many of you said on Sunday night about Monday, I don't want to. So a recent trend says, I don't want to, so I'm going to start out Monday by doing the bare minimum. So do what makes you happy. Follow your energy. Bare minimum Mondays. It all sounds nice. It sounds good. But let's be honest. If I lived by those mottos, I would be broke, I would be out of shape, and probably watching reruns of The Office and eating pizza all day. I for sure know that my grass would be entirely too high because it doesn't make me happy to cut my grass. My energy would never lead me to cut the grass, and it certainly doesn't spark joy in my life to go cut the grass. But you know what? I still have to cut the grass. Feelings are not a strategy. Feelings are short-term. They change from hour to hour, from day to day. But discipline is what produces results. If I only went to the gym when I felt like it, I'd probably go twice a month. Or if I only wrote when I felt inspired, you'd probably never hear another episode of this podcast. If I only did the chores when I wanted to, my house would probably be featured on one of those reality TV shows, about the disaster homes. That's probably where we would be, because feelings may start you, but discipline finishes you. And the finish line, that's where the real reward is. See, every one of us has these I don't want to moments, but they don't have to control us. In fact, they can actually become opportunities to grow stronger and more intentional if we know how to handle them. So the real question is, what do you do when that feeling shows up? How do you keep it from derailing all of the progress that you've made? Well, I want to give you 3 practical takeaways that I think can change the way you approach resistance and maybe even help you see it as a gift instead of a roadblock. So, number 1, see resistance as a signal. See the resistance that you feel, that I don't want to, that's pressing against you. See that as a signal. So when you feel that inner voice just saying, hey, I don't want to do it, well, don't take it as a stop sign. See it as a signal. Have you ever noticed that resistance has a way of showing up, think about it, right before something valuable? Resistance shows up right before something good is going to happen. See, the hardest part of a workout, it isn't in the middle of the workout. It's convincing yourself to even get there. I always say the heaviest thing in the gym is the front door. And it may be a struggle to start, but I'm always glad that I did it. There are many days, most days, that I go, I don't want to. I don't feel like it. And I can think to myself all of these reasons why I shouldn't. But if I put discipline into play, I am always so glad that I went when I leave. And the same is true in your work, your relationships, or the dreams that you have. Resistance is the thing that's often guarding the door to the things that matter most. My wife just wrote her first book, Every Yes. We talked about her process in that on season 2, episode 17 of this podcast. So go back if you missed it. But she talked about how many times she sat down to write, and then she would feel that resistance. She would feel the resistance in her ear just talking to her. And she would just hear inside of her mind something that says, you're not good enough. No one will read this. Who are you to write these words? And will it even matter? But instead of treating that resistance as some sort of proof that she shouldn't be writing, she started seeing that resistance as a confirmation that she should. That resistance was simply a sign that there was something good on the other side. It was worth the investment to resist that resistance and continue pushing forward. Maybe you've seen this in your own life, that project that you don't want to finish. That's probably the project that will push your career forward. Or that workout that you don't want to do, it's probably the one that your body needs. It may be resisting you, but it's doing good things for your body. Maybe it's that tough conversation that you don't want to have, but it may be the one that strengthens or even saves your marriage. See, the very fact that you don't want to might mean that it matters. Resistance doesn't usually show up for things that are meaningless. It shows up for things that matter the most. So maybe this will help you navigate this. Pay attention to the patterns of your life. Resistance usually feels like procrastination, sudden excuses, or just the urge to do anything else except for the thing that you should be doing that's right in front of you. If you find yourself doing literally everything other than the thing you should be doing, and you're doing that on purpose, see, that's resistance. And when this happens, don't wait for the feeling to change. I say this often, but I'm going to say it again. Lead your feelings. Don't let your feelings lead you. Start doing the thing. Take the first step. Start the conversation, whatever it is for you. See, action breaks resistance. And once you're in motion, momentum carries you farther than motivation ever will. So don't see the resistance as a stop sign. See that resistance as a signal. And then number 2, shrink the task, not the commitment. When we face resistance, those I don't want to moments, often what happens is we shrink the commitment. We minimize the commitment that we made and we lean into that I don't want to feeling. But a good strategy is to simply shrink the task instead of the commitment. See, I'm willing to bet that for the most part, that when you say the words, I don't want to, most of the time, you don't actually mean, I never want to. What you really mean is, I don't want to do all of this right now. You're not speaking from a lack of desire. Often you're speaking from exhaustion or intimidation or fear, maybe procrastination or possibly even laziness. Let's say it. Sometimes it is. We'll call it like it is. That's why the trick is to shrink the task without shrinking your commitment. Think about it like this. Instead of me saying, I have to write an entire podcast, I may say something like, well, let me brainstorm some ideas and some thoughts for a new episode. See, that's an easier entry point. That's easier than going, I'm going to tackle the whole thing. It's bite-sized. Don't say, I need to work out for an hour. Just say, I need to make it inside the gym today. And spoiler alert, if you can at least make it into the gym, that greatly increases the possibility of working out for an hour. Don't say, I need to clean the whole garage. Say, I'm going to tackle the boxes in that one corner. And then before you know it, you're knee deep in old holiday decorations, and you're wondering why you still own a George Foreman grill from 1998. See, psychologists call this the activation energy principle. It's just the simple idea that the hardest part of doing anything is simply getting started. But once you take the smallest possible step, your brain begins to say, well, we're already here, so we might as well keep going. I heard a story about a guy who hated running. I'm one of those guys, but the story's not about me. But he felt like for his heart health, and for me too, that he needed to start running. So he told himself, I'm going to start running when I have more time. And you can guess how that worked out. We never have enough time, do we? But finally, what changed everything was his approach. So instead of committing to a run, he just committed to putting on his running gear every day. I'm going to put my shorts on. I'm going to put my shirt on. That was it. That was the commitment. He never committed to actually run. He just committed to simply dress like a runner. That's easy enough, right? But what happened is that most days, once he started wearing the gear, he put on the clothes, he put on the shorts, and he put on the shoes, and he had them tied and laced, he thought, well, since I'm dressed for it, I might as well just jog a little bit. Fast forward 6 months in to the commitment to simply put on the clothes, he had run his first 5K. And not because a 5K was the goal, because he simply committed to getting dressed. Not for the goal of the big end result. Simplified it and just said, I'm going to put on the clothes. But because of that, getting dressed, he was able to accomplish a much bigger goal. Here's the big idea. Your resistance isn't to the commitment itself. I can promise you that. It's not to just what you want to accomplish. It's the size of the task. So if you shrink the task, you will keep the momentum. So the next time your brain says, I don't want to, well, don't argue with it. Don't argue and feel bad about the way you're feeling about not wanting to do something. Just say this, okay, but let's at least do the smallest piece. Because once you start, finishing becomes easier than stopping. And then number 3, play the long game, not the short game. Play the long game. Your feelings are obsessed with instant gratification. And not just you, it's culturally, it's all of us. We want to play the short game. Feelings want comfort right now. They don't care about the future you. They care about the present you, the you with the blanket and the snacks. But see, discipline plays the long game. It cares about the future version of you, the version of you who is stronger, the version of you who is wiser and thankful that you made the tough decisions today. Think about it this way. Feelings say, hey, don't go to the gym. It's cold. You're tired. The bed loves you. You need to rest. But discipline says, but don't you want a strong heart that still works when you're 70? See, every time you choose discipline over feelings, you're basically investing in your future self. It's like you're putting something into the retirement fund of who you want to be. It sounds something like this. I don't want to work out today, but I want to be healthy 5 years from now. I don't want to have this tough conversation, but I want to have a marriage that lasts. I don't want to do the dishes, but I want a home that feels clean and peaceful, not like a buffet for raccoons. Here's the tension that you're feeling. The short game feels good now. You get the dopamine hit, the cookie, the comfort, the nap, but the long game feels good later. But it actually feels even better later because it's actually building something of value. Think about it like investing. If you take all of your money and you go blow it on Amazon today, sure, it would be fun for a minute. There would be a dopamine hit and you would be taken care of for a day. But instead of wasting, you start investing. And over time, you build wealth. See, discipline is the compound interest of character. So instead of wasting with the I don't want to, start investing with discipline so that you can build the person that you want to be. I'm so passionate about this principle because this is where I see so many people simply get it wrong. This is where so many people derail from who they could be because they're settling in the here and the now, the feelings of what they don't want to do, and they forfeit their future self. For example, I see a lot of people who jump at every shiny new job offer, especially in the market that we're in right now. Now, there may be a quick pay raise or there may be an immediate incentive that looks good right now. But what happens is with every change, they are restarting. They're beginning from scratch over and over and over again. But those who will invest in developing their skills, in building relationships, and earning trust where they are, they bloom where they are planted, which means 10 years later, one person has a resume that's full of restarts and a shallow root system, and the other person has gained influence, impact, longevity, and a strong career. That's the long game. Now, before you miss the point, listen, I'm not saying you can't make changes because I can hear some of you now, but they have to be strategic. If you're going to find long-term success, you have to make long-term decisions because here's what I'm convinced of. The long game always wins, not because it's flashy, not because it's easy, but it's steady. It's the one that produces longevity. But the only way you get there is by showing up for the unglamorous daily, I don't feel like it stuff. Future you is counting on present you. But the real question is, are you going to let your feelings spend all of your energy on the things that are fleeting, or will you let discipline build something that lasts? This is the hard reality that many don't want to say and that many don't want to hear. It doesn't matter if you want to. If you're going to succeed, You just have to. And I know there's probably a lot of pushback right now on that statement, but it's the truth. It does not matter if you want to. If you're going to succeed, you just have to. The things that you don't want to do are the very things that shape you. Those are the things that train you, and they prepare you to handle the life that you actually want. Let me give you another hard truth bomb right here. For most of us, if we received today what it is that we actually want, we wouldn't even be prepared for it, because all we know how to do is to live an I don't want to life. Think about that. All the things that you desire for, that you're unwilling to do because you don't want to do the things in between where you are and where you want to be. If you were given where you want to be today, would you even be prepared to live it, to steward it, or experience it well? So the next time you hear yourself saying, I don't want to, just pause and reframe it. Instead of letting the feeling win, remind yourself, this is exactly why I need to do this. And then start small, build consistency, push past your comfort zone, because that's where real growth happens. That's where your life begins to change. And keep your eyes on the long game, because the habits that you practice today become the future that you step into tomorrow. Because growth doesn't come from what we want. Growth comes from what we do. So what is it that you don't want to do, but you know that you should? I would love to hear what you're battling through right now, or even some success stories that you've overcome. So join the conversation in the comments section if you're on YouTube. I would love to hear from you. And thanks for tuning in to the Mind Your Business podcast. If you found this episode helpful, do me a favor. If you're on YouTube, I want you to subscribe so that you can join the conversation, share it with a friend so that they can join in with us. And if you're listening wherever you get your favorite podcast, please leave a review. That would be so amazing. And until next time, I know you don't want to, but do it anyway. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Mind Your Business podcast.